Hi guys, it's Mix here. Hope you're doing well and welcome to another installment of Corpse Party Blood Drive. This is chapter 01. We did 00 last time. This is Blood Drive chapter 01, returning. So, one thing I wasn't sure about, guys, is whether I should be narrating the game fully or letting the Japanese play out. Some of you want the Japanese, some of you don't. So I'm going to run a poll in the description. If you want me to start reading over the Japanese, then let me know that. If you want me to just keep it as it is with the Japanese voice actors reading their lines, even though it's quite quiet by default, that's like the max volume I think it's on. I don't know. So it's up to you guys. Let me know what you think. A day has passed since the events at Shinmorenjaku South Apartments. This was to be a significant turning point for me, and Machida might have been a part of it from the start, except that fate seemed to have other plans for him.
クオン先生、俺今日は大事な用があって。
ダメ。サトシ君、昨日の唾液の小テスト、ちょっと残念な点数だったでしょ?
You fucked up, Satoshi. You fucked up the algebra quiz. Like an owner training a puppy, Kwon gave him a strong glare and held up her index finger in reprimand.
今から1時間、私の授業に集中しなさい。そうしたら、次の小テストも解けるようになるから。
先生って英語科でしょ？唾液なんて専門外じゃ。
Don't question the teacher, Satoshi. Just do as she says. She has a fucking helicopter.
一生懸命教えるからできるよ。
She's a little taken back by that remark, puffing up her cheeks like a chipmunk in protest.
いや、先生。クオン先生ってユイ先生そっくりだな。
She's just like the teacher that died before. That's quite a creepy thought to think, Satoshi, I must admit.
ごめんなさ
I
い。
didn't like her as far as I'm concerned. I can't actually remember what she looked like. She obviously left a lasting impression on me, but she's dead, you know? Whatever. Looking both bemused and guilty, Machida tried to get up and leave his seat in one swift motion, but he was quickly and easily caught, lifted up and forcefully sat back down.
ダメ。
Miss Kwon was smiling. She was actually enjoying this.
なんだこの先生。
She's clearly a demon. Miss Kwon was only the slightest bit taller than Machida. This did make her taller than the average, but her arms were small and frail. There seemed to be no way she could possibly have lifted someone of his build. This whole situation was rather bewildering for him, and he made no attempt to hide his confusion.
さあ、始めるよ。
You better do that fucking test or she'll kill you.
はい。
Just caves in. Just caves in, Satoshi, no balls. He had no other option. Apparently, he was going to be studying algebra for the next hour, come hell or high water. Meanwhile, at a local cafe near the school, Kishinuma and I were sitting down to speak with Aika Niwa, the informant who led my friends to me the previous night.
大丈夫？お腹でも痛いの？
I responded with a dismissive gesture while continuing to rub my abdomen with my other hand. Ever since the previous night, I had this constant, unbearable urge to pee.
昨日怖い思いして過呼吸が続いたから体がおかしいのかな。
Maybe the ghosts were really into water sports?
膀胱が膨らんでる気がする。何から話そうかしら。
Probably best to begin at the beginning, Aiko. Aiko tilted her head and stared at me, looking me up and down, seemingly judging my every mannerism, my every movement. It was making me feel really self-conscious. I covered my abdomen with both hands, as if guarding it from her gaze.
昨日はありがとうございました。いいえ、大したことはしていないわ。如月学園って案外広いのね。岸沼くんたちを探すのに少し手間取ってしまったわ。
Kishinuma and I stared at one another, still unsure how to feel about this strange new addition to our entourage.
あゆみちゃん、岸沼くん、 あなたたちって天神小学校の生還者よね。
She knows. She knows. We pledged never to discuss heavenly hosts with anyone else, which we'd always assumed would be an easy promise to keep. But now, casually and out the blue, here we were.
なんであんたそのことを
Well, she is a
あ
psychic,
な
right?
たたち死後の世界に接してきたでしょう。通常人間には身につかないオーラの色をしているわ。私には見えるの。
Your aura is... The colour of the aura changes. Is it neon pink? I think that should be the colour if you've been touched by dead people, neon pink. Both Kishinura and I were speechless. I just sat there staring at my palm, subconsciously trying to see my aura. I guess. Aiko was smiling at us triumphantly.
愛子さんは霊能関係の情報屋でナホさんのお友達なんですよね。ええ、ナホちゃんに天神小学校の情報を提供したのは私。
Okay. So she sent Naho to her death? The true source of the deaths and subsequent erasures that had turned our lives into a living nightmare was the Sachiko Ever After ritual posted on Naho's occult blog. I've been a fan of Naho's for quite some time, so when I saw that, I knew I had to try it out with my friends from class 2-9, and as a result, half of those friends were now
ナ
gone.
ホちゃんが響先生のために霊能探偵をやっていたことは知っているわよね。
Mm-hmm.
はい。幸せの幸子さんの情報が掲載されてから。私はね、心霊スポットや霊能関係の情報を集めて、それを欲しがる人に有償で提供してきた。
I don't trust her at all. Naho was fucking mental. I mean, she had been trapped in the crazy school for a long time, but I don't trust this chick at
報
all.
酬はお金、もしくは私の興味をそそる霊具の類。相手によってふっかけ方も変えるけれど。
What the fuck is dirty work?
まあ、ギブアンドテイクよね。向こうは情報が欲しい。私はお金と霊具が欲しい。
Physically, Aiko was a very attractive young lady, but personality-wise, the jury was still out. Her words were calculated and emotionless. Her true intentions, a mystery.
だから私は情報屋をやっているの。ナホちゃんもいいお客さんだったわ。あの子が最後に買ったのが天神小学校の情報。
So Aiko is responsible for everything that happened. She told Naho, Naho posted it on a blog, Ayumi read the blog, we all went to hell. Great!
ナホちゃん、これで響先生の小説がなんとか賞を取れるってすごくはしゃいでた。
Okay.
ねえ、教えてくれる？あなたたちの閉じ込められたあの異空間にナホちゃんはいた？ナホさんは響先生と一緒に亡くなっていました。
I looked down as I answered. Despite everything she'd done, the memory of Naho's passing was still painful for me. She'd become one of Heavenly Host's lost souls and gone completely berserk. In the end, I was the one who finished her off.
そう、やっぱりね。
Aiko seemed completely unaffected by this revelation. Her tone remained even, and her expression cold and distant. Honestly, I'd had about enough of her by this point. She was so devoid of empathy, it was almost offensive. I was genuinely starting to get pissed off.
平気なんですか？
Challenge
残念だ
her?
と思うわ。でも予想はついていたから、わざわざ取り乱す必要もないでしょ。
Kishinuma continued to stare intently at Aiko with his own brand of cold, emotionless eyes. He was oddly quiet though. His anger was palpable. I clenched my fist.
じゃ、この子はおまじないを一緒に行ったと思うんだけど、あっちにはいたかしら。
Aiko showed us a photo of a girl named Sayaka Uyu. Ui? Sayaka Ui? I don't fucking know. How do you say that, guys? Let me know in the comments.
いえ、会ってないからわかりません。
Yeah, she was never in the previous games.
そう。
Aiko's expression was so unfaltering you could carve it into stone. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to say something.
ナホさんのこと、お客さんだなんて。 そんなの友達って言わないと思います。
Okay. My voice was breaking with rage. But even if this hadn't been the case, my face must have read like a book. This icy bitch may have had one expression, but I sure didn't.
あら、あなたは客って言葉に対して随分と偏見を持っているのね。取引を行う以上、私はそこに最大の誠意とクオリティを提供する。つまりそれがパートナーとしての信用で、フレンドシップにも負けないものだと思っているけれど。
So I guess she's really serious about business. Still don't trust her though. I had no idea what to say. It seemed like Aiko was used to this sort of thing. Her response felt carefully rehearsed, like a sales pitch. Finally, Kishinuma broke the silence.
あんたよ。昨日篠崎を助けてくれたことは感謝する。けどよ。金やなんかの見返りのために、そんなろくでもない情報を拡散させるなんて。旗迷惑だと思わねえのか。
Kick her ass, Kishinuma.
情報は情報よ。それ自体に罪はないわ。道具と同じ。それをどう使うかは使い手の問題でしょ。
The Heavenly Host information could only have been used for shit stuff.
その気になれば、その辺にあるコップでも人は殺せてしまうのよ。
But no, not quite sure I agree with that. I mean, if you were a trained assassin, smash the cup, drive the ceramics through someone's neck, I guess, but not as easily.
詭弁じゃねえかよ。
Please don't demonstrate. Please don't demonstrate.
あなたもそう思う？あゆみちゃん。愛子さん。ごめんなさい。私はあなたの考え方嫌いです。
Her expression remained calm and collected overall, but her eyes blinked several times in rapid succession. It was the first outward sign of emotion we'd seen from her.
やれやれ、ひどい嫌われよね。慣れてるけど悲しいわ。
Okay. Eka quickly shrugged off her sudden outburst and was back to her usual icy self.
天神症は俺らがぶっ壊してきたからいいけどよ。
I don't think you did. An awkward tension filled the room, or at least our table.
じゃ、本題に入りましょうか。私があなたたちに近づいた理由、伝えたいことについて。
Aiko produced a thick, hardbound file folder from the light blue bag she'd brought with her. She opened it to reveal several documents of a questionable nature. Among them were what looked to be a family tree, as well as numerous pages featuring black magic symbology, or images that looked like tree branches.
黒魔術の文字対応表。篠崎家の家系図。少しショッキングなことを伝えるわね。
Aiko was looking directly into my eyes now. Her gaze was fixed, intense, and unblinking. What are you going to tell us that's so shocking, Aiko?
さっき岸沼くんが言ったことだけれど、間違いよ。
So the school is alive and kicking as we expected, otherwise there wouldn't be a fucking game!
あ？何がだよ。
What I just said,
天
Yoshiki.
神小学校は壊れてなどいない。今もまだ存在し続けているのよ。これを見て。
What's she showing us? Aiko placed the black and white photo on the table. It wasn't the clearest of pictures, but there was no doubt the location it depicted was Heavenly Host Elementary. In the picture, a small girl could be seen standing in one of those all too familiar hallways, holding a hatchet in her right hand.
天神小学校。
It is indeed, Ayumi.
なんだよこれ。
やっぱり。これは私が念写したものよ。力が足りなくて少し不鮮明ではあるけれど、今現在のあの空間。
What the fuck is a thoughtograph?
一体どういうことなんですか？
Please explain. I can't even describe what's going through my head at the moment. I felt like I was about to burst. Aiko, however, remained calm, as ever, while recounting her story.
順を追って説明するわね。まず、昨日の例の赤い箱だけれど、開けると、 このレーグが出てきたの。
Okay. Inside it were apparently 2 stones resembling magatama, common-shaped ceremonial objects from Japanese antiquity. Also included in the box were several more roughly hewn stones, as well as a lining along the edges consisting of crumpled pieces of thin, white paper.
残念ながら箱の中でほとんど割れていたけれど、この一組は無事だったわ。
So why magatama relevant? They looked almost like demented versions of yin and yang symbols, puzzle pieces that were clearly built to be slotted together. I actually have one of those. I got it with like a collector's edition of an anime box years and years ago, the weeb that I am. Aiko now held 1 stone in each hand and was motioning them towards one another as if to drive that point home.
レーグというのはね、簡単に言えば死者の思いが込められたもののことで、物に閉じ込められた霊、またはその生前の記憶が持つ者に永遠と泣き言を語りかけてくる愉快なものよ。
I'm not sure wonderful thing is what I used to describe it, but still.
こう見えて無類のレーグコレクターでもあるの。
Okay, that's creepy. Kishinuma and I briefly locked eyes again. We shared the same look of bewilderment. Aiko's personality was much more twisted than either of us had initially perceived it to
こ
be.
の子の意志を読もうとするとね、呪わしい声と一緒におさげの少女や廃校の風景が見えてきたのよ。
Okay.
で、気になったからこのカメラに。
At this, she produced an old instant camera and placed it on the table in front of us.
私の念を写してみたの。それがその写真。
So she took a photo of the image in her mind?
私がこのレーグを使ってその時の今現在を念写したものよ。過去や未来の時間を超えた念写は私にはできないから。
Okay. I examined the photograph in greater detail and a chill ran down my spine. There was absolutely no denying what it depicted. I was actually shaking.
篠崎幸子を失ったあの学校は私たちが逆落ちで脱出した際に崩壊したはず。
I'm guessing Sachiko Shinozaki is probably okay, Ayumi.
でも寸前のところでとどまったってところかしら。私に語りかけてくる声の主がまだいるのかもね。
Someone saved the school. Aiko motioned towards the photo in my
例
hand.
えば写真の女の子とか誰かしらね、この子。
Well, she has an axe. The answer was beginning to dawn on me. A sudden cold sensation exploded through my body, and I shuddered as if trying to shake off the encroaching realization.
くそ、あの地獄みたいな場所がまだ存在してるってのかよ。
I think so, Yoshiki. Kishinuma leaned forward. The conversation was clearly beginning to engage him a lot more than it had been.
その天神小学校、いえ、学校の形をしたあの異空間だけれど、ナホちゃんに紹介した手前、私も気になって調べていたの。あの異空間の正体はね、涅槃という死後の世界に近い磁場なのよ。
The school has become a plane of
普
death.
通はこの世とは別の次元に存在するものなのだけれど、涅槃？
Nirvana probably seems to be the wrong word, I would say.
ええ。篠崎義恵については知っているわよね。はい。篠崎の家、義恵の診療所に黒の本と呼ばれる魔導書、ブック・オブ・シャドウズがあったことも。
You know about this, yes?
はい。
Your sister died there, you mean, remember? Not to bring that up, but you know. How could you know about that? A million thoughts, a million questions were running through my head. I was speechless. All I could do was sit there and hear her out. One second. Okay, what the fuck is going on here? Hurng! It was like a muffled scream or a moan of agony. The sound you make when you want to make a sound but are barely able to. That one was a little more forceful, accompanied by thrashing. It caused a nearby table light to fall over and roll along the ground.
あなた、落ち着いて、お願い。
This was Yoshi Shinazaki's clinic, and Yoshi herself was on top of her husband, holding him down with both her hands. She continued her Shinto purification chant. To prevent Seiji from biting off his own tongue, he'd been gagged with a towel. Needless to say, he wasn't looking particularly well. Not far from where this was occurring, Sachiko stood aghast, trembling as she watched the proceedings with hesitant, sidelong glances. This is so quiet, I can't actually tell if she's speaking or not. Seiji's enjoying it, to be honest with you. Seiji, still collapsed on the floor, was clearly suffering. His body was bent into a most unnatural shape, and he was fervently clawing at his neck. Okay. Sachiko's father screamed through his gag, foam beginning to froth from its edges. He was going into cyanosis. What the fuck is cyanosis? Ghostly images of Shinazaki women from ages past smiled down upon the event from the ceiling, laughing and mocking his suffering. Worse still, some of them with traditionally blackened teeth, giving their smiles an unintentionally sinister edge. The atmosphere within the room was heavy, as if spirits occupied every empty corner, dancing and flitting about freely and joyously. And he came. Seiji's body sharply bent and began convulsing. Black magic never tends to end well. Her great-grandmother, Seira, the head of the Shinazaki family, was among the black-teeth women, laughing joyously at Seiji's suffering. Shut up, Sachiko, you'll be dead soon. Well, I'd say that went well. His voice began to weaken and his convulsions began to lose strength. Finally, the last spark of life had left his body. His eyes rolled back into his head and all movement ceased. Probably because he's dead. Sachiko looked up, eyes glazed over with tears. Yoshi too was stricken with grief and despair.
霊能力者の血筋、篠崎の者と結婚した夫は必ず早々の死を遂げる。呪われた家の運命に抗えなかったヨシエは。
Wonderful.
心ない者たちから守るよう篠崎の家に託されていた禁忌の本に手をつける。それが黒の本、ブック・オブ・シャドウズ。
The Book of Shadows. Weird, like, English phrases and
愛
Japanese
する
stuff.
ものを失う。そのことを恐れるあまり黒魔術に頼ったの。まさに荒唐無稽でバカな話よね。ヨシエ自身もすがれるものなら何でもいい程度にしか思っていなかったと思うわ。
I guess that's true love. Aiko stared deeply into my eyes, seemingly fishing for a reaction to her tale.
ところが、まさか信じられないことが起こる。
I continued listening, unknowingly stroking the wound on my thigh as an unpleasant memories of my own foolish run-in with black magic resurfaced.
ヨシエの体に流れる篠崎の血筋。その強い霊力に想像もつかない何かが呼応してしまった。それは。
I instantly knew what she was going to say.
ヨシエの術で本の中から呼び覚まされた何か。それは涅槃。未来永劫、死者と共にいられる場所。死後の世界を切り取った空間がこの世に生まれてしまったの。
The Book of Shadows did it
ヨシエは
all.
もう半分正気を失っていたのね。一人娘の幸子を現世に残して、自分は夫の魂と共に生涯をそこで添い遂げようとした。ランド・オブ・コープス。ところが涅槃には意志があり、ヨシエの手でコントロールできるものではなかったの。
I knew that all too well. Just like Yoshi had experienced my own tragic failure with black magic at the Shinozaki Clinic.
黒魔術には障害反動がある。夫の魂はバラバラに飛散し、ヨシエの命も消えかけた。自分の愚かな行為を悔やみながら呼吸を止めようとしたその時、底なしに霊能力の強い一人娘幸子が涅槃を丸ごと体の中に飲み込んだの。幸子が。
The poor girl collapsed on the floor, violently thrashing about as the weight of an entire dimension crushed her from the inside. This action had saved her mother's life, certainly, but death would have surely been preferable. Picking herself up, Yoshi rushed to her daughter's side in tears.
幸子、さっちゃん、あなたお母さん死なないで、お母さん。
Both parent and child were bawling, pain mixed with relief, mixed with pain again. The little girl buried her face into Yoshi's bosom and just cried and cried. Yoshi grasped her tightly in both arms, tears streaming down her face uncontrollably. By this point, Sachiko's body had produced a dark blue aura.
ごめんね、さっちゃん。ごめんね。お母さん間違ってた。
I'd say that's another fucking statement, to be fair.
お母さんにはあなたがいるわ。もうあなたを置いていこうだなんて思わないから。あなたも知っての通り、幸子も篠崎家当主直系の血を引くサラブレッド。ヨシエを超えるほどの霊能力を持っていたのね。涅槃を丸ごと体内に封じ込めるなんてものすごいことよ。
Aika took a big noisy sip from her coffee mug.
当時ほとんど最強の霊能者だったんじゃないかしら。まだほんの小さな子供だったけれど。でもその幸子が死んでしまって。
She didn't have a nice time, did she, Sachiko, as we learned in the previous game?
保健医ヨシエの転落事故と同時に幸子が行方不明になった50年前のあの事件。あれは校長による殺人事件でした。やはりそうなのね。校長が余計なことをしでかしたおかげで幸子の中に吸い込まれて封印されていた涅槃が復活し、あの異空間天神小学校が生まれてしまったのよ。
It's actually quite a good, if very lengthy, bit of exposition, this.
ま、とはいえ復活した涅槃も資料として蘇った幸子の力で再び抑制されて、やっぱりその支配下に置かれていたようだけれど。幸子がいろんな力を使えたのもその涅槃の影響だったのかしら。
This was all starting to make a sick sort of sense. The pieces were falling into place and painting an absolute awful picture. I shuddered to myself as I considered it.
現在はあなたたちが脱出の際に幸子を取り除いてしまったから、涅槃は再び暴走状態になっているのよ。
Berserk once more?
なってしまえばよかったのに。あんな危険な場所。
Well, you guys probably have to go back. This entire conversation was a roller coaster of emotions for me. At this point, I was just angry. Angry at everyone involved in this whole ordeal, myself included.
さて、ここで少し突飛な話をするわよ。ついてきてね。
Going back there? Gonna go on a limb.
はい。死んだ友達にまた会いたい？
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is where it's going. That certainly got our attention. We both perked our heads up immediately.
涅槃で死んだ霊は成仏できずに囚われ続けるというわ。お友達の魂だってまだあそこにいるかもしれない。実はね、黒の本ブックオブシャドウズにはいろんな魔術が書かれているの。
We tried this once and it resulted in her sister dying. It's probably not going to work this time.
ヨシエの使った涅槃を生み出す術の他にも反言の術というものもある。
Nakashima and I knew about that one all too well.
命を無理やり戻すなんて敬虔な宗教家に言わせれば神のおぼし飯に背く背徳の行為だと言われそうだけれどね。
Fuck religion.
は
Kushinuma seemed a bit more confused than he probably should have been, though I suspect the look on my face may have had something to do with that. I performed that spell, the very one Aiko was describing. It took hours, failed miserably, and killed my sister. All at once the guilt returned. I lowered my head, solemnly. Aiko grinned at me, and I had this sinking suspicion it was because she somehow knew what I was thinking, though I couldn't be sure, and I certainly didn't know how she would.
けれどそんなものはクソくらいよね。冒涜も破壊も何でも来いよ。
That's the right attitude, Aiko.
死んだ友達を生き返らせたいんでしょ。
I don't trust her though, she's definitely evil.
あの本を探し出し、天神小学校でもう一度あの術を行えば成功する可能性は飛躍的に上がるんじゃないかしら。
So you had to cast it again in Heavenly Eyes.
おいあんた、何無責任なこと言ってやがんだ。またやばいことになったらどうすん。
Oh, we're going back there, guys. Pretty sure that's the plot. I didn't exactly mean to interrupt Kushinuma, but quite honestly, I didn't even realize he was talking. I was just too focused on what Aiko had just
あ
said.
なたは知っているんですね。私と中島さんの。
Aiko tilted her head at me, that same wry smile creeping across her face. She'd gone from cold and emotionless to knowing and expressive in a mere instant.
あの時のことは夢幻だったと思っています。ありえないものを見て、ありえない体験をして、私はおかしくなっていたって。してはいけないこと。あんなこと、もう忘れたいの。でも現実だった。
Aiko pointed to the scar on my neck, and then went one step further and lightly brushed it with her hand. I could feel that touch deep within my soul. I suddenly found myself swallowing my next breath, practically choking on thin air.
いい？人が本来触れることすらできない世の常識の裏側にあなたは手を突っ込んだのよ。今さら逃げられると思う？
I think we're fucked. I looked down again, trying my best to avoid Aiko's gaze.
私にそんなことが。
When I started crying, I raised my head again, intent upon looking into Aiko's eyes as she answered my question, but she looked so blurry through my tears. I could tell, though, she was smiling at me. It was the same expression, her new standard.
そんなことって何？
You fucking know! Stop being a dick!
みんな。何？あなたの口からちゃんと聞きたいな。
She's a bitch. I don't like her at all. Fuck Aiko.
行け。帰らせ。よく言えました。
Aiko patted my head as one might a dog's after its successfully performed trick.
黒の本が生み出すのは魔女の英知が起こす奇跡よ。それは運命をもねじ曲げる力。たとえそれが確定した運命であろうともね。あなたは強力な霊能者の家系篠崎家の末裔。日野江さんがいない今、これはあなたにしかできないことかもしれない。
My confidence was being bolstered by the minute, though in retrospect that was likely Aiko's aim. Nonetheless, if there was still something I could do for my friends...
だけど肝心のブックオブシャドウズがどこに行ったのかもわからないし、それに
I bet she has it. I bet she has the book.
幸子を失った天神賞には幸せの幸子さんのおまじないではもういけない？
Okay, someone else is controlling the heavenly host then. Does that mean?
そうだと思います。この学校で菅野由紀ちゃんという女の子に聞きました。
Okay, once again, place the bluish-white magmatama stones from the box in either hand, this time fitting them together, though not quite in the way they were supposed to interlock.
そこでこれよ。それは一体。ものすごい霊力を持ってる。さすが篠崎の霊具ね。声が教えてくれたわ。
Okay. So this is important. Oh, where should we trust the voice?
幸せの石。
I leaned forward despite myself. The name sent a shiver down my spine, but now that I'd heard it, I had to know more.
この石は2つで1つなの。これをパズルのようにくっつけて、涅槃よ、死人を迎えよと唱えれば、触れている者みんながいつでも天神小学校へ飛べるわ。
Oh, like Dorothy's shoes and Wizard of Oz, except probably going to kill you. We both flinched at her charm, but Aiko just smiled. She must have intentionally oriented the stones the wrong way so the charm wouldn't activate.
戻る時も同じ。
I don't trust that, that's bullshit. Bullshit! She tossed the stone she'd been holding to her right hand. She'd been holding in her right hand into her left, where it clacked together with the other.
不思議でしょ？この子が教えてくれたのよ。この方法。
She wants people there. Don't trust the fucking... Oh, Aiko gazed longingly at the stones. She was clearly utterly enamored by them. It seemed as if they were the key factors in unleashing her newfound emotional expressiveness. But my focus was elsewhere. Without a doubt, the items Aiko now held in her left hand were extraordinarily dangerous. Possibly the most dangerous, horrific objects in the entire world. However, while Aiko was ogling them with her left hand, her right was feeling around for something in her breast pocket. She slowly removed it, producing an old black and white photograph. When had she taken that? It was the same photograph I'd seen at Makinina Shinazaki's house the previous night. It depicted a young Yoshi alongside her mother and Makina.
10代だった篠崎義恵は
When Yoshi was in...
おばのマキナのことを慕ってよく家に遊びに行っていたそうよ。世界的に有名な霊能師の家系である篠崎家。ここならとヤゴーラ教会の生き残りヤゴーラのオキナが危険だからとマルトバから盗み出してきたブック・オブ・シャドウズを預けに来たんだけれど、それが揃うと危ないからと石はマキナが、本はヨシエが預かって保管することに決めたそうよ。
Yagura Society? Matubis? I'd never heard these terms before at all. And then there was a damn Book of Shadows again. Why did that have to keep coming up?
あなたたちはあの学校から篠崎幸子を取り除いた。それによって大きな可能性が広がったわ。これまでのような一方通行ではなく、現世に戻ってくることができる。この世のものではない異空間心霊スポットが生まれているの。
So it's gonna be much easier to travel. I don't trust her. Even if it is easy to travel, why would you want to fucking go there? She thrust the Everlasting Stones towards me triumphantly and continued to make her pitch, growing more excited by the second. I was legitimately speechless. What could I say?
わかるかしら。まさにあの場所は宝の山よ。
Only in the
こ
money?
れまで眉唾、嘘800と笑われていたエーコンの世界への扉が開いたの。世界中のオカルト研究が一気に加速するわ。私はね、商売としてあの空間へ人を連れて行くツアーコンダクターをやろうと思うの。
Holy shit, this is crazy! Kishunira and I both reacted to this preposterous suggestion with a start. She couldn't possibly be serious. Could she?
ナホちゃんのブログからは片白のデータは削除したし、あの手段ではもう飛べない。行く方法は
So is she gonna charge us to go back there? Is this the plan? What could she possibly have been thinking? I wanted to stop her at once. I wanted to take those stones and break them right there on the spot before anyone else got hurt.
私はね、
But I...
ツアーを運営するにあたって安全を確保したいの。
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you'll do just fine. Everyone else did a great job in
あ
there.
ゆみちゃんはお友達の霊を探したいでしょ。だったら あの空間の再調査は共通の目的にならないかしら。
Oh, she's looking for people to bring with her on a test run? Aiko leaned in as she spoke. Her breath, scented with sugary sweetness of the extravagant desserts we've been eating, tickled my nose.
ね、あゆみちゃん。私と一緒にもう一度天神小学校に行ってくれない？本来は片白を引きちぎる方法でツアーをやろうと思っていたんだけど、こんな便利なアイテムが見つかっちゃったんだもの。これはもう運命よ。私やるわ。商売にする。
This seems absolutely fucking mental. Aiko seemed like she was on top of the world. But that just made me all the more disgusted with
ど
her.
うかしら。
On the other hand, she was offering me a chance to save our lost friends, and however remote the chance may have been, it stacked the odds frustratingly in her favour. I still couldn't just say yes, but I also couldn't say no. Honestly, I resented Aiko for putting me in this position. I glared at her for a moment before I said anything.
すぐに答えを出せるわけがないでしょ。考えさせてください。
I'd almost forgotten Kishinuma was there. Suddenly waves of guilt washed over me. He had an absolutely incredulous look on his face. I couldn't bear to see it, so I looked away.
ブックオブシャドウズだってどこにあるかわからないし、そもそもその石だって本当にそんな力があるかもわからないじゃないですか。実際に試したわけじゃないのでしょ。
Aiko smiled. She orientated the two stones so they formed a perfect yin-yang symbol, then slotted them together once again. Immediately the stones began glowing with a bluish-white hue and a stream of energy started to form around her.
マジかよ。
Aiko continued smiling and looked directly into my eyes.
いいわ、ゆっくり考えて。この石はもちろんまだ試していないからどれだけ危険かわからないしね。
Okay. She slowly separated the two stones as she said this, and the energy surrounding her dissipated. That's pretty scary.
篠崎家の血筋、篠崎牧名の家で発見されたんだもの。きっと信憑性も霊言も新たかな霊具に違いないわ。
すげえな。ちょっと見せてくれよ。
Kishinuma didn't wait for an answer. He grabbed the ever Aster stones from Aiko's hands and began examining them carefully.
あの箱の中にこんなものが入ってたとはな。
Suddenly a
あんた
coincidence.
さ、まさかこの石を独り占めしようなんて考えてねえよな。
Aiko seemed taken aback by the question. Way to go, Kishinuma. You managed to catch her off guard.
これを見つけられたのは半分は篠崎が体張ったおかげなんだろ。
That is true. Aiko seemed to ponder these words for a moment.
じゃあお互い勝手に行けないように一つずつ持っていましょうか。
Sounds like a plan.
わかりました。ちょうだい、岸沼くん。
Just don't lose it.
ああ。
Kishinuma put one of the stones in my hand, then slipped the other back into the drawstring pouch Aiko had brought them in and closed it up. He then casually handed the pouch back to its rightful owner.
その気になったら連絡をちょうだい。そうね。サービスとしてブックオブシャドウズの捜索は私も手伝ってあげるわ。
Aiko flashed us the biggest, most gregarious smile I think I'd ever
あの
seen.
本さえ見つかれば一緒に行ってくれるのよね、あゆみちゃん。
I closed my eyes and gave something like a half-hearted half nod, lowering my head without raising it again. It was interpreted as a yes, but I'm not sure I meant it that way.
ぐっと。じゃあここは私が出しておくわね。
Aiko got up and grabbed the check.
いえ、私も出します。
I took out my wallet. I had no desire to owe this person anything. Aiko just smiled.
それじゃ割り勘ってことで。そうそう。これは私からのプレゼント。
Aiko handed her the autograph to me.
嫌だわ。そんなに構えないで。これは無料で差し上げるわ。だから安心して。
That cutscene lasted about 45 minutes.
なあ。
鈴本さんや篠原さん、森重くん、ゆい先生、みんなのことが終わったらこ この石はすぐに壊すから。
Yeah, I'm not sure about Mori. He had his issues, right?
ああ、その意見には俺も同感だ。両方ともぶっ壊す案だがな。
As if he'd been waiting for this cue, Kishinuma pulled the other stone from his pocket. He stole it!
あの学校のヤバさも知らねえで浮かれてやがったからな。こっそりいただいてきたぜ。
Yoshiki, that was impressive, dude.
岸沼くん、すごい悪い人。
緊急事態によりやむなしだ。けど吉野崎、こう言っちゃなんだが、生き返らせるとか鈴本たちのことはもう考えない方がいいんじゃないか。
I think she wants to do
無茶
it.
ばっかしてお前がまた死ぬ思いするとかよ。鈴本も結衣先生も篠原も森重も。
でもそうじゃないかもしれない。
いい加減にしろ篠崎。サトシや中島がどんだけお前のこと心配してると思ってんだ。
ごめんなさい。でもお願い岸沼くん、もう少しだけでいいから私の気の済むまでやらせてお願い。
いやいいか、一人じゃダメだぞ。
Aww. They make a good duo, you know.
大丈夫だ。
I turned my gaze up to meet Kishinuma's. My eyes must have looked like saucers, windows into a mind full of worries, ideas, and fears spurred by this unexpected turn of events.
なんかあったらすぐ連絡しろよ。前みたいに目つぶって突っ走って勝手に死にそうになってんじゃねえぞ。俺だってお前一人くらい守れる自信はあんだからや。
Kishinuma patted me on the head reassuringly as he said this, and I had no idea how to react. I felt warm and safe, but also a little annoyed, much like a younger sister being simultaneously comforted and scolded by her big brother. All I could say in response was... I could feel my eyes still bulging from my head, opened as far as my eyelids would allow. I imagined how I must have appeared to Kishinuma and was momentarily embarrassed.
んじゃ、そろそろ帰るとするか。
Okay, I guess we're back in control for the first time in this whole chapter. He's late. Seriously, what is he thinking? That boy needs a boot to his head, I swear. Ready to head home? Not just yet. May as well have a look around. Is there any relevance to this? I don't need anything right now. Can we go up here? Yeah, we just have this weird, like, walking around sort of, like, the streets thing. What the fuck? I'm not really sure how this is relevant, but it's kind of fun. I guess we'll have a look around. Oh, didn't mean to do that. What is this? Is the owner of the house happy? Obviously they're experiencing the daily joys and hardships of life like anyone else, but they really understand what it all means. I have no fucking idea. So now we've had, like, I guess the main exposition behind what's happening here. She looks decidedly happy, doesn't she? I'm not sure. These chibi characters do seem pretty cheery. I remembered running up these stairs with Maya Susamoto, and the time it never dawned on me the legitimacy of those memories could ever be called into question. Why would it? When you graduate, transfer, or get married, you're always still able to see one another, as long as you're both alive. But in this reality, it's as if Suzumoto never even existed. She was driven into a wall at high speed. I think she was pulled apart in the second one, because they're, like I say, they all get reborn in the second one and die in different ways. You try and avert the fate of them dying, but it doesn't go well, and they die horribly. And Mayu is pulled apart by ghost children. In the first one, the ghost children pick her up on their shoulders and plow her into a wall. Where are all the people? The streets seem unusually quiet. Is it just because of the late hour? That's a little bit creepy. Yeah, Mai died horribly. Saiko died horribly, the teacher and Morishige all died horribly too. Let's head home, shall we? Come on then, let's go.
Tadaima. Okaeri.
By the way, yeah, my sister's dead.
今日の変死速報です。死亡した岡部さんは背骨が折れた状態で都内のこの場所で発見され。
Oh yeah, this shit's going on. Like a ghost going around breaking spines. A Tokyo map was displayed on the television screen, marked with 2 red dots. The marquee at the bottom provided the headline, "Sudden violent deaths remain unexplained." Without thinking, I left the socks I just removed from my feet on the living room floor and began walking toward the bathroom. How shocking of you! What a faux pas! This was a bad habit of mine, so ingrained within me that it almost become a ritual. Mum did well to have caught it so quickly. I grabbed my socks and left the room.
みんなの魂がいる天神症でブックオブシャドウズを使えば今度こそ生き返らせることができるかもしれない。
I set my bag down in my room quickly and automatically grabbed my sweatpants and spats and made a beeline for the bathroom. When I got there, I threw my socks in the hamper with purpose, then began peeling off my school uniform. As I observed myself in the mirror, I began to murmur.
障害反動。もしあれ
You
が
know, the
また
scar
起
on
こ
her
った
neck
ら
there. Those burn marks on my neck and my arms were eternal reminders of what I'd been through at the Shinozaki estate. I could clearly remember the agony I went through as they formed. I remember watching them sear into my flesh out of thin air, blood spurting from them as if I'd been knifed. I only survived because Hinoe sacrificed herself in my place.
やるしかないじゃない。
They fill her with determination. I tried to force self-confidence into my expression when it couldn't come. I slapped my cheeks hard. It was in me somewhere. It just needed to be yanked out into the open.
あなたが頑張るのよ。
Wonderful. This is obligatory bath scene. I lowered my head in the water ever so slightly, blowing bubbles in the water with my mouth. The pros and cons of returning to Heavenly Host were racing through my head. This is the power to challenge fate itself. She's talking. Quietly as fuck.
ブックオブシャドウズのありかさえ分かればすぐにでも。
I think you'll find it. There's probably someone who's up in your room now. Yeah, I thought
ブ
so.
ックオブシャドウズのありかだ。相変わらずずれた感性してやがんな。
Who the fuck are you? This was just about the last thing I expected. I couldn't help but scream. It was that same boy who found his way into my room last time, wearing the exact same clothes. He spoke to me without once turning his head to look in my direction.
涅槃を知ったか。やっと悟ったようだな。てめえの宿命ってやつを。
He smiled, still facing away from me. It was a confident yet sinister grin.
あなた、なんでここに？
音響のまじないなんて基本中の基本だろうが。いちいち驚くんじゃねえよ。
Oh, so he's using black magic? I guess the demon on his top gives that
それ
away.
よりもだ。忘れんなよ、それ。運命に課せられたてめえの責務だからな。その末裔ってとこ。
あなた、
あ？
警察呼ぶから！この変態！ストーカー扱う！
My face had to have been as red as fire by this point.
うるせえよ、この父なし女が。誰が
Oh!
幼児みたいな体しやがって。てめえみたいな貧相な体、見てもなんも面白くねえんだよ。
Holy fucking shit, that's mean. My head felt like it was now housed all the blood from my entire body. I imagined myself white as a sheet below the neck and flashing red above it, on the verge of a megaton explosion.
いいか、よく聞け。ブックオブシャドウズは涅槃の中に戻ってる。ほら。
He handed me the photograph from
い
Maiko.
つの間にこれが何だって言うのよ！
よく見ろ、節穴女。ここだ、ここ。
So rude, holy shit. I grabbed the photograph from his hands as aggressively as I could muster, then backed away slightly, putting as much distance between me and him as humanly possible. It was definitely the same picture of the girl holding the hatchet Aiko showed us earlier, but now I noticed she was holding something in her other hand too. It was a hardbound book around the size of a typical desk dictionary, and though I could barely make it out, there was a certain aura to it that looked an awful lot like a face.
これは
力を使いたいなら、もう一度涅槃。いや、天神小学校と言った方がいいか？お前の願いも叶うだろうよ。
He stuck out his hand and pointed directly at my face, then slowly lowered it down towards my abdomen. He was now inexplicably pointing to my lower body, but as soon as I started to get self-conscious, he flipped his hand over and opened it, exposing his palm. There was another piece of 10-yen gum cup there, the same kind as before. I'm not sure why I took it, but I did, without even thinking. As soon as the exchange was made, he immediately turned towards the bathroom window, apparently preparing to make his
あ
escape.
なた、何者なの？どうし
My question seemed to stop him in his tracks.
教えてくれるの？
I wasn't about to drop my guard, especially given the obvious advantage this boy had over me. But he didn't seem like he'd come to attack me or anything. Rather, it was almost like he was trying to lead me somewhere, to show me the way.
今はまだ話せる。
He turned his head toward me just enough that I could catch a brief glimpse of the eyes behind his hood. They were ice blue in colour, but gentle and sincere. He smiled once more as he leapt out the bathroom window. I was kind of dumbfounded. I had no idea how to process what had just happened.
どうしたの、あゆみ？大丈夫？
Oh, you screamed, and your mum heard. Mum barged in the bathroom, brandishing a broom. It was probably the first thing she could find with which to fend off potential intruders. Too bad she hadn't been just a moment quicker. All I could do was squat on the cold bathroom floor and stare at her with hollow eyes. There was no way to adequately explain any of this to her. I guess we have to go to Heavenly Host if we're going to even have a chance to resurrect them now. It was late at night and I still hadn't bothered changing out my school uniform. I needed food though, so I decided to hit up the convenience store on my way back home. I picked up a bottle of olives, a pack of tofu, some mineral water and other various things to keep me going for a while.
なんだこりゃ。
I could hardly believe it, there was actually an occult section at the damned mini-mart with all kinds of stupid stuff like spirit talisman magnets and anti-demon wards. I grabbed one off the shelf at random and looked at the company logo on the back, PL Promotions Co. Inc. For these last 2 months since we'd gotten back from Heavenly Host, it seemed there was a real spiritual boom going on all over the world. Whenever there'd been a strange death or something, the public would be all over it, downright excited about the possibility that it might be supernatural in nature. It was all over TV shows and magazines too, with independent researchers checking out spiritual hotspots and giving fancy new age advice to people, just to boost ratings or sales. And now this. Exorcism merchandise next to pre-packaged cupcakes and ready-made dinners.
コンビニでお札が買える時代かよ。ちょっと前までならこんなもの見ても 気持ち悪いって笑えたんだろうけど、こんなの本物相手に聞くのかよなんて思うようになるとは。
Probably won't. Probably just plastic shit. The item I was examining happened to be one of the spirit talisman magnets, seemingly the last one in stock. An old lady suddenly reached around me behind and almost yanked it right out my hands. What a bitch! She glared at me for a moment before taking her prize over to the register. And I just stood there, staring blankly at her as she walked away.
なんだかよ。
ありがとうございました。
Okay. I guess I don't know where we're going as Yoshiki. I guess that was the right way.
岸沼くん。
篠崎、何してんだこんな時間に。
うん、ごめんね。こんな遅くに。アルバイト？
ああ、今日は遅番だったからな。で、まさかずっと待ってたのか？
うん、平気。
It was actually a really chilly night. I could see Shinazaki's breath dissipating around his chin in short, frequent bursts.
平気じゃねえだろ。震えてんじゃねえか。嫌じゃなければ寄ってけよ。
Guess we're going into his house. It's quite a nice little room. My room was on the second floor of the apartment building. I hadn't been expecting guests, but I had just tied it up for my own sake a little while back, so it was fairly presentable. Shinazaki immediately sat down on my bed and began sipping the tea I'd made for her. She was holding it in both hands, probably less for politeness and more just to warm them up.
おいしい。
だろ？妹がいつも送ってくんだよ。いい茶葉らしい。
Not a big fan of tea, guys. The sound of a large truck driving by seemed to catch her off guard. She was clearly a bit jittery, unsurprising all things considered.
こんな時間まで工事してるんだ。
ああ、年末近くになるとこういう意味のない工事増えるな。うるさいわ、眩しいわで寝れやしねえよ。
大変。
Time passed us by at a snail's pace. Shinazaki continued to sip her tea, never once removing either hand from the warm cup. She definitely had something on her mind. Something had happened. It was written all over her face.
親に断ってきてんのか？
ううん。あ、連絡は大丈夫。
そうか？
Okay, this is a bit awkward. Shinazaki was in my room. I dreamed about this before, but never thought it would actually happen.
罰か。なんだな。いや、その。
This is really awkward.
どうしたんだよ、こんな遅くに。なんかあったのか？
うん。あのね。
はあ？今から天神賞に行くだ？
Let's go! I was half acting as admittedly this wasn't entirely unexpected. Shinazaki may be a lot of things, but unpredictable is not among them.
お願い。
で、この石を取りに来たのか？
I took out the ever after stone I'd stolen from Aiko.
いいか、篠崎。確かにこの石はさっき光ってたし、何か力はあるかもしれねえ。だがよ、もうまた出られなくなって、下手したら今度こそ死んじまう。そうなりゃ、ここでのお前の存在まで消えちまうかもしれねえんだぞ。
I tried to be as strong and commanding as I could possibly muster. I needed her to realize what a bad idea this was.
私の存在なんていい。それより、みんなを救いたいの。
救う？
黒の本、ブックオブシャドウズのありかが分かったの。
さっき言って
That
た。
book you were talking about earlier?
見て。
She had that thoughtograph thing from Aiko with her and was pointing to the little girl's left arm.
私たち、実はもうさっき見えていたのよ。この女の子の 左手のところ。
I didn't have to look very hard to see it, but
本か。確かに持ってるな。それでこれ
ないけど。でも、多分間違いないと思う。
多分ってお前。
天神症へはね、この本を取り戻しに行くの。そしたら、みんなの魂を涅槃から解き放てる。
could I argue with that? There were so many assumptions being made, but she was so sure of herself, so certain that this would work. She wasn't about to listen to reason. Shirazaki shook her head furiously, like some sort of violent shudder. It almost seemed like she was trying to shake off something loose from her mind.
つか。そもそもこんな石で本当に天神症に行けるのか。あの女、庭愛子だっけか。どう見てもうさんくさかったぜ。
それは試してみなきゃだけれど。でももしまた天神症に行けたら、みんなの魂がそこにあるんだから、今度こそ反抗の術が成功すると思うの。
篠崎。
She still had deep scars all along her arms, legs, and neck. Anyone could tell at a glance she'd just recovered from a serious accident. She sounded so self-assured, so self-confident, but it was hard to take any of that seriously. This was the first in my life I found myself tearing up over someone and not being embarrassed that I was crying. Honestly, it surprised even me how deeply I cared about Shinozaki, and how much I just didn't want to lose her. My eyes were getting hot and glazed, and I felt utterly
そんな
helpless.
こと誰にも話せないけど。
I was at complete loss for words. I found myself literally scratching my head, trying to come up with a good answer. This was Shinozaki, and she'd come to me for moral support, for encouragement, for peace of mind. It was really the first time she'd ever truly relied on me, ever truly counted on me. I knew that what I had to do.
もうよ。あのクソ学校であんな目にあって帰ってきたんだ。今さら何があっても驚きゃしねえよ。理解はできないけどな。できないままに俺は決めたことがある。
決めたこと？
ああ。何があってもお前を守るって
Oh,
よ。
that's sweet. Shinozaki and I stared into each other's eyes for a moment, each of us trying to figure the other one out.
心配すんな。大丈夫だ。
I tried to force a smile. Shinozaki had basically curled up in a ball at this point. Her tiny body collapsed in on itself for support, but now all of a sudden she unfurled herself and glared at me. I couldn't tell if she was mad or happy or what. Her eyes were either like daggers or saucers. I couldn't really make out which. Maybe she'd just come here expecting me to actively shoot down her ideas or something. Maybe she thought she'd be alone in this. Maybe she'd figured out what I was up to. Or maybe she'd been expecting me to say exactly what I'd said to her. And maybe it annoyed her? Either way, tears began to explode from her eyes so quickly that red bags were forming under them almost instantly. She then turned her back to me, all with one seemingly unconscious spin of her body.
どうした篠崎。
あのね、昼間、私の頭、ポンポンってした。
She seemed like she was trying her hardest not to let herself cry, though it wasn't exactly working.
んなことしたか。
した。あれだけど。
She paused, seemingly waiting for me to answer, but I had no idea what to say, and absolutely didn't want to say the wrong thing, so I just stood there like a
やっ
dolt.
ぱり覚えてないなら。
She wants the D, dude. Finally, she turned back to face me, her tears mostly drying. Still a little self-conscious about crying, though, she kept her eyes closed, a telltale frown belaying her confidence. There was obviously something between the lines for me to read here, but hell if I knew what it was.
ああ。お前の持ってる石の片割れ。
うん。はい。
Smart move, change the subject. Shinozaki removed the ever after stone from her pocket and placed it squarely in my hand. I positioned it next to my stone and stared intently at the two. This was the turning point. What I did next could decide our fates. I couldn't mess this up. Outside my window I could hear the sound of construction vehicles driving by. It was now or never. As close to one-sided motion as I could manage, I opened my window and chucked the 2 stones out into the road. I timed it perfectly and my aim couldn't have been better. Another track was just about to pass by, and the stones were immediately in its path. The sound I heard next was satisfying crunch. It was the sound of delicate glass-like rocks breaking into tiny pieces. Shinozaki had rushed over to the window and directly witnessed the fate of the ever after stones. As soon as the truck drove over them, she collapsed to her knees. Like I said, I'll protect you no matter what I have to. Ga? I couldn't even finish my sentence before Shinozaki's palms slammed my face with incredible force. The loud smack of flesh on flesh echoed throughout the room. The side of my face was immediately in pain. I began rubbing it with my hand as I looked into Shinozaki's eyes. Her face was filled with tears and her nose was running. She was breathing so heavily her shoulders were bobbing up and down. You're a fucking idiot! She was absolutely hysterical with rage. You fucked up, dude. I think you do have a point. It was my turn to fire back now. I was certain I'd done the right thing. Leaving me with those hurtful words, Shinozaki then pushed past me and ran out my room, crying like a child the whole way. I stood back up again, rubbing my cheek where I'd been slapped. A worthless piece of shit. Ow. We're looking for the things. Is this them? This is the road? I thought this was like a path. Found them.
無事だったんだ。トラックに踏まれたのに。
当然だろう。ただの石じゃねえんだ。
This weird guy again? Yeah, probably.
あなたは。
よく手段を手に入れたな。論から手段、次に実践だ。進め。
Your hair's weird, by the way.
お前はもう飛べる。パンピーどもを超越する世の断りに手を突っ込むことのできる人間だ。
Pretty sure this guy's a demon.
教えてよ。味方なの？
篠崎！
篠間くん。
比べてこいつはクズだ。
Oh.
は？なんだよお前。
It's that guy I passed in front of Shinozaki's place.
壊れなかったのかそれ。篠崎渡すんだ。
いや。
ダ
She's
メ
not
だ。
gonna give him up
行
now.
くんじゃねえ。何度死にそうになれば気が済むんだよ。
いや。
渡せ。
いや。
Oh! Jesus, you broke the fucking wall.
野生犬だ。
Oh.
歩み、味方かと聞いたね。その通り、守るものだ。
I don't believe that 1 minute.
俺はお前の姉、日の絵の世話になった一番弟子、矢後浦教会のキリアミストだ。
Oh, okay.
お姉ちゃんの。
いい子だ。会場のワードは覚えているな。
I actually don't. I hope she does.
それじゃあ実践と行こうか。
Yoshiki's like embedded in the fucking wall. She can't give a fuck. Oh, here we go. I guess Yoshika's probably coming with us.
俺にしっかり捕まってろよ。あとほら。
Is it more fucking gun? Or not? The Argus Cube. Okay.
ごめん。もう心配しないで。
篠崎。
お前は正しくパンピーの道を生きて
This
ろ。
guy's a cunt. This guy's a proper cunt.
やめて。涅槃よ。死人。
篠崎。
Oh fuck.
マジかよ。
Well, it left you behind. You'll be fine, Shiki.
篠崎。篠崎。くそ。なんでだよ。くそー。
That was a brilliant scream. 10 out of 10. Mm.
ここは
You're in Heavenly Host.
この匂い。このく。
The most visually impressive version of it so far.
あれミストさんどこ
She's gonna be alone here, isn't she?
幸せの石
He has them.
ない
I told you not to trust him.
あれはミストさんがそんな
You're an idiot.
あの石がないとあの石がないと帰れないわミストさん私
I'm all alone in this school.
またこの学校
Again. May as well pee yourself.
そんなことないよきっとどこかで合流できるわ前だってそうだったもの
Okay, I guess we are in the school now. Oh, fuck. Jesus Christ.
あれ
I haven't... Oh, fucking fuck. Like a pomegranate.
いらっしゃいませ。
You're pretty fucked, I think, Ayumi. Sensible thing to do there. Okay, so we're actually finally playing the game after that lengthy introduction there. That was close to an hour and a half, I think, final. But you know, it's pretty good. Pretty good little introduction. Let's see if we can find a save point here. Because it seems like a good place to leave it. It wasn't this dark last time. That's new, right? There wasn't a clock like that in here last time either. I guess things are really different now. I hope Mitsuto hasn't gone too far. I don't even know his phone number. Would it even work in here? Like, I'm pretty sure you have no cell phone signal in hell. I should just leave a message for him. Just pee it on the floor. Masuto, it's Amy, please call me. And that's a phone number? Doesn't seem practical. Good enough, I think. Now let's see if I can find him anywhere. Let's just overwrite our save there. And that's where we're going to leave today's episode. It's a long one, but that set the scene. We're in the stall, and we're going to be playing some actual gameplay, I think, next time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this setting up of the scene. If you're enjoying the series so far, drop that like and leave a comment. And if you enjoy my content and you want to support the channel, head over to gamewith.com/minx or hit the support me link in the description. You can contribute regular amounts to the channel per month in exchange for things like access to private live streams where I play games with that like mean a bit more to me and interact with you guys on a more personal level. You can get Q&A sessions with me where you can ask me questions verbally on the mic along with other fans in like a group chat session. You can also get t-shirts, play games with me, and other things as well. You can get shout-outs for your YouTube channel or company or Kickstarter or whatever you want as well if you want to support me there. So thank you very much for your help, guys, in supporting this so far, and I guess I'll see you guys later. Bye for now.